All right, next on the 7 for you, Crayola and Nerf no longer building attractions at the former Smoky Mountain Opry in Pigeon Forge, but a new developer has stepped in and bought the building, Darby Campbell with Safe Harbor Development. Now, although it is uncertain what will take its place, Safe Harbor Development out of Knoxville now owns the space, leaving the potential now of a new attraction idea. Craig Cruz, the public information officer for the city of Pigeon Forge, says the developer has previous work in popular visitor spots like the Island. And well, he has no doubt that something great is coming.
We have no problem getting behind the developers of this project. They always whatever they develop becomes an excellent product in the end. When you're looking at things like the Island, what that means to our community and what that means to our visitors that come every year. It's an important thing, and so we look forward to whatever's coming.
Meanwhile, Campbell, the founder and chairman of Safe Harbor Development, tells us that there is a targeted opening for the middle of 2027. The building will feature a dynamic mix of attractions and entertainment with immersive experiences for guests. Continuing our Big 7 list for you right now, a former Heritage High School teacher has now pleaded guilty to child sex crime charges more than a year after being indicted. Court records show Shane Ruiz pleaded guilty to 3 counts of attempted exploitation of a minor by electronic means. He has been sentenced now to 3 years minus time served, as well as 10 years of supervised probation. Ruiz will also be placed on the sex offender registry and is ordered to have no contact with the 3 victims for the rest of his life. 6 News reported in October 2024 that the Blount County Sheriff's Office was investigating Ruiz. He then obtained a copy of his personnel file, which at the time accused him of inappropriate communication with one student on social media. Investigators went on to identify a total of 3 victims. Ruiz resigned in September of 2024. He was arrested in Georgia 2 months later. Next on the 7 for you tonight, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation is looking into an overdose death that led to 3 people being arrested. In December of 24, the TBI joined the investigation into the overdose death of Sloan Holt after he was found dead at his Sneedville home from fentanyl toxicity. Now, further investigation revealed that Quade Alder was involved in distributing the drugs that caused Holt's death. Also, Halen Alder and Toby Alder were also involved in the distribution of fentanyl in the Hancock County area. On February 9th, the Hancock County grand jury returned indictments charging all 3 suspects in connection with this investigation. All right, continuing our Big 7 list, Tennessee lawmakers have passed a bill in the House that would change how same-sex marriages are recognized in the state. The bill's sponsor says the measure does not change Tennessee law. It clarifies that the 14th Amendment applies to state government, not private citizens. The bill would spell out that private individuals and organizations are not bound by the Supreme Court's 2015 same-sex marriage ruling when it comes to recognizing marriages. It also protects people from discipline by a state board if they decline to officiate certain weddings. Now, during debate, opponents argued the legislature cannot override federal precedent and warned the bill would likely face court challenges. The bill's sponsor pushed back, saying the measure is legally sound.
Members, this body does not get to pick and choose which constitutional rights we like and which ones we don't. If a right is federally protected, whether it's the First Amendment, whether it's the 14th Amendment, we do not get to selectively nullify it because it's unpopular with the majority of this chamber.
The 14th Amendment does not bind private citizens, which is all this bill says. So any argument that somehow this language or this bill is unconstitutional or is a violation of the Supremacy Clause is completely inaccurate.
The bill passed the State House 68-24, now moves to the next step in the legislative process. If enacted, it would take effect on July 1st. Next on the 7 tonight, we are learning the estate of a man who died after being placed in a restraint chair while in Monroe County custody is now suing for damages. This is a case that we've been following since February of last year. 74-year-old Elijah Lester Isbell was arrested on a disorderly conduct charge. This after a report was made of a man appearing to be unable to drive. First responders with the Monroe County Ambulance Service responded to help Isbell, but he denied needing medical care, and officers say he eventually reached for a shotgun. This is when Isbell was taken into custody. Monroe County Sheriff Tommy Jones saying Isbell was not cooperative when he was placed in a restraint chair, where he was later found unresponsive. He was then taken to a hospital where he was pronounced dead. The Knox County Regional Forensic Center determined Isbell died from a heart arrhythmia because of underlying cardiovascular disease, but later reclassified Isbell's death as a homicide with his condition complicated by dehydration and restraint. And we want to wrap up our Big 7 list for you. Free Medical Clinic of Oak Ridge, or FMCOR, is treating low-income and uninsured people at no cost. Now, the clinic operates in Anderson, Roane, and Morgan County, and now they are expanding to meet the rising demand. The clinic is adding 8 mobile health units to meet patients where they are, helping people with difficulty accessing transport to get the assistance they need. 40% of its patients are homeless, so the clinic tries to help them find shelter, jobs, and provide food.
Our goal is to be the best in-class clinic for the uninsured and working poor in the area. So we get a lot of people that have lost their teen care or just now finding out about us, or have lost employment and lost insurance with that, and are coming to us.
Over the last year, the clinic has added a total of 2,000 new patients, and that number is expected to rise. We are your local election headquarters, and the deadline for candidates running for several big local races to pick up their petition has now come and gone. The cutoff was today at noon. And even though candidates still have a week to withdraw, we are getting a better idea of who will appear on the ballot here in Knox County. In the race for County Mayor, Commissioner Larson Jay, School Board Member Betsy Henderson, and Commissioner Kim Frazier are running on the Republican ticket. Knoxville Building and Construction Trades Council President Bo Hawk is running on the Democratic ticket. Other races on the ballot for the May 5th primary include Knox County Mayor, as well as a handful of county commission and school board seats. The final day you can register to vote is April 6th. Early voting begins April 15th, and again, Election Day itself is coming up on May 5th.